Hey friends, I'm Wanda. I'm 28 years old, and I just want to say thank you so much for the support and interaction on my last video. It honestly made me so happy and gave me the motivation to keep going and share more stories with you. So today, I've brought you some new Reddit stories to relax with. Let's dive right in. Story 1. So I'm 22, and I've been with my fiancé, who's 26, for just over 4 years now. Things between us are good, and I'd say my relationship with his family is decent, though not without its issues. To give you some background, when my fiancé was a baby, his dad wasn't really involved in parenting. He worked full-time while my fiancé's mom went back to work just 5 weeks after giving birth. That meant his grandmother ended up raising the kids a lot. And honestly, she gave my fiancé's mom a really hard time for it, accusing her of being selfish, saying it's a wife's job to raise the children while the husband earns the money. That old school mentality stuck, and my fiancé's mom still resents her for it. Unfortunately, a lot of that same mindset carried over into my fiancé's parents today. Fast forward to now, I recently had a baby, our daughter, who's about 7 months old. My fiancé has been incredible with her. He's hands-on, involved, and just such a good dad. And that matters so much to me because I don't have the best relationship with my own family. Giving my daughter a safe, loving environment and showing her what a healthy relationship looks like is my #1 priority. But here's the thing. Whenever we visit his parents for Friday dinners, my mother-in-law always makes comments that get under my skin. Stuff like, "Wow, you're so lucky he helps with the baby. His dad never did that." Or, "He's such a good dad. He even changes diapers. Your FIL never did that once." She says it like my fiancé is going above and beyond. But to me, he's just doing the basic responsibilities of being a parent. It honestly annoys me every time. Recently, my fiancé quit his job because he was burnt out and struggling with depression. I fully supported his decision because he needed a break. I even picked up a part-time night job myself to help balance things. But now, he's applying for new jobs, and one came up that looks great on paper. Good pay, solid benefits, even training opportunities. The problem, it would keep him away Monday through Friday, working 10, 11-hour days. With his mental health and our baby still so young, I just don't think it's the right fit for us. When we talked about this with his mom, she immediately said it would be stupid to turn it down. I explained that if he took the job, I'd have to quit my night shifts because someone has to be with our daughter. That's when she jumped in with, "Oh, I'll just watch the baby, and you can pick her up after work at midnight." You can't quit your job. That's dumb. Now, our baby is a terrible sleeper. She wakes up multiple times a night, hates naps, the whole deal. So, I pointed out that if I'm watching her all day, working nights, and then also handling the night wake-ups, when exactly would I sleep? My Mills response, "Welcome to being a mom. This is what you signed up for." And that's when I snapped. I told her I didn't sign up to be a single parent, and I definitely didn't sign up to co-parent with you. That did not go over well, but I couldn't hold it in anymore. Now I'm left wondering, was I wrong for being upset by her comments? Because to me, money isn't everything. Mental health, family, and being present for our daughter matter more. Jobs will come and go, but this time with our baby is something we'll never get back. Story 2. So here's what happened. My fiancé, Mark, works really closely with a woman named Megan. They share similar responsibilities, so working as a team is just part of their job. Honestly, it's never been an issue for me. They don't hang out outside of work, so I never thought twice about it. But lately, because of everything going on, Mark has been working from home. Yesterday, he had his usual weekly Zoom meeting, and I just happened to be sitting in the living room while he was on the call. During the meeting, people started chatting about what they'd do once everyone was back in the office. And then someone made a comment, something like, "Oh, Mark and Megan must really miss each other." Right after that, a few more people jumped in and started jokingly calling them work husband and work wife. At first, I thought, okay, maybe it's just office banter, but then someone suggested that when they're back in the office, Mark and Megan should renew their vows. And instead of shutting it down, Mark played along. He laughed and said something like, "Sure, we'll be registered at Office Depot." Everyone laughed, and I just sat there, feeling crushed. I actually left the room in tears. Meanwhile, Mark kept joking around, completely oblivious to how much it was hurting me. After the meeting, I confronted him. I told him I felt humiliated. I mean, our wedding was supposed to be in September, but we've had to postpone it because of everything going on, and we don't even know when it'll be safe to reschedule. And here he is joking about renewing vows with someone from work. Mark brushed it off, saying it was just a joke and that it wasn't a big deal. He even showed me some silly article his office had been sharing about how remote work is ruining work-wife relationships. But for me, that wasn't funny. I told him the whole work-wife thing is offensive because I am supposed to be his wife, not Megan. So I demanded that at his next meeting, he publicly clear things up. I wanted him to tell his coworkers that he is engaged to someone else and that they need to stop calling him and Megan work spouses. I also said he needed to apologize for joking about it in the first place. Mark said he couldn't do that it would embarrass him and hurt his reputation with his colleagues. And that's when I snapped. I told him, "Oh, is it hard to feel embarrassed? I wouldn't know what that's like." That's when he turned around and called me the asshole. Now that I've had some time to cool off, I keep wondering, did I overreact, or was I right to feel humiliated and stand my ground? Story 3. I'm a 46-year-old man, and honestly, I'm shaken to my core right now. My wife, she's 49, and I have been married for 4 years, together for 7. She's always been so kind, always making my morning coffee, and until now, I thought we had a good, solid life together. But over the last few weeks, something felt off. After drinking my coffee, I'd start feeling dizzy, nauseous, even shaky in my hands. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe it was stress from work, or maybe I ate something bad. But 2 days ago, everything changed. I came home early and walked into the kitchen, and I saw my wife dropping some kind of powder into my coffee mug from a small, unmarked vial. It wasn't sugar, it wasn't creamer, just some strange powder. The second she saw me, she shoved the vial into her pocket and nervously said it was just a new coffee mix. But her voice was shaky, and she wouldn't look me in the eyes. Later that evening, I tried to stay calm and asked her directly what it was. She told me it was some kind of natural supplement to help me feel better. But when I asked why the vial had no label or why she was hiding it, she had no answers. That's when the fear set in, because those symptoms I've been feeling aren't normal. I told her I needed space to think, and I asked her to stay at her mom's for a few days. She broke down crying, saying I was overreacting and breaking her trust. But I couldn't shake the thought, what exactly had I been drinking all this time? I still have the vial, but I was too nervous to even test it myself. My gut told me to be careful. And the truth is, I love her. She's my everything. But suddenly, I'm scared in my own home. I kept checking the locks on the doors all night, paranoid and sick to my stomach. Eventually, I called 911. The police came by, and I handed them the vial. They said they'd test it. Meanwhile, my symptoms kept getting worse: dizziness, nausea, weakness. So I checked myself into the hospital. The doctors said there's something off in my blood work, but they'll need more time and lab tests to figure out what's in my system. They've asked me to stay for observation, which honestly terrifies me even more. My wife keeps calling and texting, sobbing, saying it was just an herbal energy boost a friend gave her. She swears it wasn't harmful, but she still won't tell me why she hid it from me in the first place. Her texts are frantic, apologizing over and over, but avoiding the one thing I really need: the truth. And here I am, stuck in this hospital bed, scared, exhausted, and questioning everything I thought I knew about the person I trusted most. Story 4. So I'm 21, and I work part-time at this small office while I finish school. It's a pretty laid-back job, super chill, nothing fancy. Technically, the rule is business casual, but honestly, no one really follows that. Most people show up in jeans, leggings, t-shirts. You get the vibe. Me, I like to dress up a little more. Not over the top, but I'm into fashion. I'll do bold makeup looks, creative but not clownish, fun hairstyles, some vintage pieces, even heels if I'm feeling it that day. That's just my thing. It makes me feel confident and put together. Enter this new woman at work. She's older than me, probably mid-30s, and ever since she started, she's been acting weird toward me. She'll throw these little passive comments like, "Wow, dressed up again," or "Wish I had time to do all that." It doesn't sound awful, but the tone is always off. Like, "Okay, no one's stopping you from putting on lipstick, Susan." Anyway, last week, HR calls me in, and apparently, someone complained that my appearance is distracting and not in line with office norms. They wouldn't tell me who, but come on, I know it's her. So I asked point blank, "Am I breaking the dress code?" And they admitted no, I was. Instead, they said they just wanted me to be more considerate so that others could feel comfortable. Excuse me, I'm not wearing anything revealing, nothing inappropriate. I'm literally just stylish. If anything, I'm one of the few people in that office who looks like I didn't just roll out of bed. So I flat out said no. If I'm not breaking rules, why should I change how I express myself? Now, this woman has stopped talking to me entirely. And get this, she's telling other people that I'm attention-seeking and unprofessional, and that I make the office feel like a fashion show. Like, girl, just admit you're insecure and move on. Some of my coworkers are on my side. They think it's ridiculous. But a few have said, "Well, maybe you could just tone it down a little." But honestly, why should I? This is literally who I am, how I dress every single day. Why should I shrink myself to make someone else feel better about not trying? It's gotten to the point where I feel uncomfortable in my own skin. And at the same time, I'm angry. I'm not hurting anyone. So why should confidence be treated like it's a bad thing? Story 5. So here's the situation. I'm 34, and my wife, let's call her Sarah, is 32. We've been married for 7 years. Comedy has always been a huge part of my life. I've been doing amateur stand-up for about a decade. Nothing big, mostly open mics and small local gigs. But it's something I love. It's not my career, but it's a big part of who I am. And Sarah has always been supportive in the practical sense. She comes to my shows, helps me rehearse, even covers for me when I've got late sets. But here's the thing. In all these years, Sarah has never once laughed at my jokes. Not once. If I ever asked her about it, she'd just say, "It's not really my type of humor." I tried not to take it personally, but deep down, yeah, it bothered me. It always sat in the back of my mind. Fast forward to last week, we're having some drinks. Politics comes up. She knows where I stand, and she's always kind of nodded along in agreement before. Never really outspoken. So, half joking, I asked her who she voted for, and without hesitation, she said, "Trump." At first, I laughed because I thought she was kidding. But she was. I asked her why, and her answer just floored me. She said, "Because he's hilarious. The way he talks The faces, the chaos, it just cracks me up. That was it. No mention of policies. No real reasoning, just that she thinks he's funny. And I don't even know how to explain how weird that felt. I've spent years pouring my heart into something I love, working on my timing, my material, everything. She's never found me funny. But this guy, whose whole persona is mocking people and stirring chaos, that's who makes her laugh. I know to her it's just humor, but to me, it feels darker than that. That kind of humor can normalize cruelty. I even said something clumsy about how people laughed at dangerous figures in history too. And she told me I was being ridiculous. Since that night, I haven't been able to look at her the same way. I've been sleeping in the guest room, and I'm making plans to move in with my parents for a while as I figure things out. Honestly, I'm looking into divorce lawyers. My friends think I'm overreacting, that not everyone shares the same sense of humor. But for me, it feels like something way bigger than just different tastes. Story 6. So I'm 19 and recently moved in with my boyfriend and his family. Honestly, his parents are amazing. They're supportive, sweet, and even helped me move my stuff in when I had to leave a bad home situation. Everything would be perfect, except for one big problem: his younger brother. He's 17, and to put it nicely, he's a menace. We all share the upstairs bathroom, and it's always disgusting. You clean it, and within 3 days, it's trashed again. The worst part, he somehow manages to get stuff all over the toilet seat. And yeah, it's as gross as it sounds. I eventually gave up and started only using the half bath downstairs. But honestly, the bathroom isn't even the worst part. The real issue is that he uses everything that isn't his. My boyfriend had this expensive shaving gel. Took him years to go through half of it. And somehow, his brother burned through the rest of it in 2 weeks. He doesn't even shave properly, so we couldn't figure out what he was doing with it. I had a limited edition body scrub I'd been saving, and poof, it was gone. He also eats all my food, not just a snack here and there, but literally everything. I'll buy stuff for myself, put it in the fridge, and come back the next day to find it completely gone. Now, his parents know this has been a problem for years. They've confronted him. They've tried punishments, even taking away his phone. But he doesn't care. He just mumbles sorry while staring at his screen, and then goes right back to doing the same thing. I even tried talking to him myself, thinking he'd feel embarrassed. But nope. He doesn't care at all. And the thing is, it's not like he's a bad kid in every way. He helps out with chores. He's good with the dogs, polite to me and my boyfriend, and he does well in school. But when it comes to respecting boundaries, he's just completely out of control. Luckily, this situation isn't forever. My boyfriend and I both work long hours, and we're saving up to move into our own apartment soon. His parents offered us a place to stay so we could get on our feet, which I really appreciate. But dealing with his brother in the meantime has been, well, let's just say it's testing my patience. So let me throw this to you guys. If you were in my shoes, would you confront the brother again? Or just keep your head down and wait until you can move out? Story 7. I'm in my 50s, and the other night I made dinner for my husband. We were having breaded chicken strips, 2 types, spicy for him, mild for me, and a salad. The salad was full of spinach, spring greens, carrots, celery, and mushrooms. Pretty standard, right? Full disclosure, we're in the middle of a divorce, but still living under the same roof. Anyway, we had a social event that evening, so I ate when I could, and he ate later. While I was finishing up some work in my office, I suddenly heard swearing coming from the kitchen. Moments later, the garage door slammed, and he drove off. I thought maybe he'd forgotten something and had to go back to work, so I just kept doing what I was doing. A short time later, he came back, still fuming. I went into the kitchen to figure out what had happened, and there he was, holding a bag of romaine lettuce. He threw it on the counter and completely lost it, yelling at me for not making a real salad. According to him, all the spinach in the bowl wasn't enough. "It's all spinach," he shouted. "This is not a salad." I tried to explain, but he wasn't having it. The verbal lashing continued, with him accusing me of being disrespectful and threatening to make our divorce paperwork more difficult if I kept pulling stunts like this. Honestly, I just turned away. I went upstairs, stayed calm, and said nothing more. About 30 minutes later, I went downstairs to let the dog out, and he mumbled, "Are you ready to go?" Since the last thing I wanted after being verbally abused was to spend 2 hours next to him at a social event, I simply said, "No," and walked back upstairs. At that point, I was baffled, chewed out for not putting romaine lettuce in a salad. Really. A few hours later, he returned home and acted like nothing had happened. No apology, no acknowledgement, nothing. So, here's my question to you. Is it really that outrageous to call a salad, even if it doesn't contain romaine lettuce? Story 8. A few months ago, my close friend, let's call her Elle, and I planned to see a band we both love. Tickets were about $90 each. I bought them because she didn't have her card on her at the time, but she promised to pay me back the following week. I was fine with that. I trusted her. Weeks went by, and she never brought up the money. Every time I mentioned it casually, she'd brush it off with something like, "Oh, right, I'll get it to you soon." I let it slide, thinking she would pay me back before the concert. Then, the night of the show arrived, and just a few hours before we were supposed to leave, she texted me saying she was feeling up to it. No real explanation, just that she didn't want to go. I tried calling to check if she was okay, but she didn't pick up. I ended up inviting another friend at the last minute so the ticket wouldn't go to waste. The next day, I asked Elle if she could send me the money for her ticket, since she hadn't gone and I'd already paid. That's when things went south. She got defensive and told me I was being insensitive, that she wasn't in the right headspace, and that real friends don't nickel and dime each other over things like this. Basically, she made it seem like I was being selfish for even asking. Now, she's barely talking to me, and another mutual friend suggested I just let it go because it's only $90 and I'm making a big deal out of nothing. But honestly, it's not really about the money. It's about trust and keeping your word. I feel like being asked to pay her way while she bails, and then getting scolded for asking for repayment isn't fair at all. So I want to ask you, if a friend doesn't hold up their end of a simple agreement, are you being unreasonable for holding them accountable? Story 9. I'm 28, and I've been saving for years to buy my own house. I've lived in a tiny apartment since college, and I've been really disciplined with my budgeting, just so I can finally get out of renting. Every dollar has a purpose, and I've been working hard to make this dream a reality. Now, my younger sister, she's 25, is getting married next spring. She and her fiancé are both sweet, but honestly, money isn't their strong suit. They want this huge dream wedding that's way beyond their budget. Last week, my mom called me and basically told me that I need to contribute $10,000. She didn't phrase it like a question or even a suggestion. It was an expectation. At first, I laughed because I thought she was joking, but she was. Then my sister called me, crying, saying she had already booked the venue under the assumption that I would cover part of it. I was completely blindsided. I never agreed to pay for her wedding, and when I told her there was no way I could or would give her $10,000, she accused me of being selfish and ruining her big day. For context, I make a decent salary, but I'm not wealthy. I live in a high cost of living area and have been cutting corners for years to save up for a down payment on my house. I offered her $1,000 as a wedding gift, but apparently that wasn't enough. Now, my parents aren't speaking to me. My sister is posting vague things on Facebook about family betrayal, and I'm stuck feeling guilty and frustrated. I've worked hard for my own financial security, and suddenly everyone expects me to bankroll someone else's dream. My boyfriend says if I cave now, I'll just set a precedent of being the family ATM. But my family keeps making me feel like I'm the bad guy. So here's my question for you. Is it unreasonable to protect your own financial future instead of covering someone else's wedding? And that's it for today's stories. Now, I'm just going to keep playing Minecraft for a while with some relaxing music in the background. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.